I'm gonna keep this real short and sweet with y'all boys out there. I see y'all trying to make noise or whatever, and everybody trying to keep me out the loop. So I just want to be known. I've been quiet for too long. I understand. I'm slipping on my pimping, but now it's time to snap back right and get back right. You feel me? So 2025 is my year. I got me a whole hit list marked down. I can see the target, but I'm starting off with that boy Boots out there in Philly. I'm finna go ahead and get that done with. I gotta make that happen before he move up to 154. After that, I see T.O. Hill playing games. He'll think about going up to 147. If you think about doing it, I'm right here. If you want to fight at 140, we both WBO. I could down to 140 with you. Trust me, it's not a problem at all. And that's also for all the other 140-pound champions. Anybody can get it for real. I just want to let that be known. Like I said, I've been quiet for too long. That's my mistake. But I'm tightening up, and now it's time to take over this whole boxing game. You dig?
Potentially after this, that could be something you entertain?
But I ain't even worrying about talking about him right now. You know what I mean? I don't even want to put the light on him right now because they do enough talking themselves. You know what I mean? So, but they know the truth. You know what I mean? Just like when they was offered so much amount of money and turned it down, 750, 1.5, 1.7, and when you fought what's that boy Centennial, you only got 100-something thousand, and you talking about there wasn't enough money that what you call him, Eddie offer you with enough money. Oh shit, you only made 100-something thousand. Somebody offer you 750,000. I got to pay Bob. You got to pay this. Yeah, but you don't have enough money left. You know what I mean? So it's the same thing when you had the 100-something thousand. You know what I mean? Then when you offer 1.5, you can walk away with a nice piece of money. You know what I mean? So don't use that for an excuse. Then the last one they offered was 1.7. You know what I mean? So come on, man. You know, if you really wanted to fight, you should have took the fight. Now you're getting exposed. Now, what I mean by exposure, y'all living off of Boots. Call him Boots' name out and all that, and then when it come down to it, y'all ain't signing to fight nobody. You know what I mean? So I don't even like addressing them at all. Man. Okay. You know what I mean?
We've been talking about what's next for Jaron Boots Ennis. A lot of people are leaning towards the potential matchup between WBO welterweight champion Brian Norman Jr. But somebody that was a spectator in the infamous sparring sessions that Jaron Boots Ennis and Brian Norman Jr. had some very interesting things to say. It's your boy, Mr. 926, a.k.a. Bushido the Dragon, a.k.a. the Black Mage, a.k.a. I could just do this all day, the two-time demonetized champion of the world.
I need y'all to get the likes up, man. Get the likes up.
Check it out, man. Boots Ennis, Brian Norman Jr. It's the next fight. Boxing fans are looking towards the potential matchup between IBF and WBA unified champion Jaron Boots Ennis and WBO welterweight champion Brian Norman Jr. These two guys are familiar with each other. These two guys had sparring sessions with each other. And if you have your ear to the streets in the sport of boxing, you've heard rumors of how this sparring session may have went. But check out an interview from somebody who was actually there telling you what actually happened. Check it out.
Not going to underestimate Brian Norman. Him and Brian Norman sparred multiple times. It was never competitive. It was never close. It was never any of that.
We're getting it from someone that was there.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
We're getting it from someone who was there. You saw them spar.
Yes, I saw them spar. So even when they talked about the body shot thing, mind you, when the whole debacle of Brian Norman and his dad going on tour talking about, boots, I'm just sitting there being quiet watching until they start crossing lines. Then I'm like, all right, now, I was there. When he put Brian Norman down, if this was a fight, it would have took way more than 10 seconds for him to get up. When he put him down that body shot, it would have taken way more than 10 seconds for him to get up. But let's pretend that the body shot never happened. The spar was never close, and none of them. That fight, mark my words, does not go past 5, and I'm being generous.
Bet the house. Now, after hearing what he had to say, salute to, I think the guy name is Aaron Peterson or something, Aaron Peterson or something like that. The guy that's actually talking during the interview. Salute to the guy that actually had the interview. But this guy apparently says that he was there and it wasn't even close. None of the sessions was close. None of them was competitive. And if you're like me, you may have heard the rumor that Boots stopped him or dropped him with a body shot. I've heard that story as well. And he said that if it was actually a fight, he wouldn't have beat the 10 count. Now, this is just sparring, right? This is before Brian Norman became a champion, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We heard what Boots Ennis had to say after the fight with Stanionis.
Who shot him?
Brian Norman's father.
When did he say that?
Yo, Brian Norman not good.
They just building themselves up off of Boots, man. You know what happened when he came to the gym? You know what I mean? So we ain't worried about it.
They ain't gonna do nothing but talk.
All they doing is talk.
Social media, they on a social media tour right now. They talking, they trying to build their name up off of me.
They've been doing it. That's what they've been doing.
They're not really about it. If any of y'all in here made 100,000 y'all last fight, and y'all got offered $2 million to fight me, what y'all doing? What y'all doing?
I'll take the.
You're gonna fight me, right?
I'll fight you now.
Exactly. That's closed in the story right there. Closed key. That shows what he really about for.
But you see when Brian Norman fought the last fight, he like caught on the chin. You look what happened. Imagine if Boots hit him on the chin. He going to sleep.
And they seem to get pretty agitated when it comes to Brian Norman Jr., right? They seem to get very agitated whenever asked about him. But Brian Norman Sr. has some things to say about a potential fight now after Jaron Ennis has become the unified champion, the lineal champion at 147 pounds. Brian Norman Sr. had this to say.
Normally, Boots really don't like trash talk like that, but yesterday in the press conference, when they brought up your son, like he gets visibly agitated, and he even went as far as to saying that your son is not good. Then he started talking the money talk. Well, what is it about your son that gets Boots agitated? Why does he get agitated?
Because what it is about my son that gave Boots agitated, because he never had nobody try him like that. He ain't never had nobody openly call him. He ain't never had nobody openly want to fight him. He ain't never had a nigga come at him like that. You feel what I'm saying? He used that diplomatic shit. You ain't hear what Stanionis was talking? Stanionis was talking, well, I mean, he's very athletic. You know, if he is what he is what they say he is. I mean, he was very gracious, and I don't got no problem with that. But, I mean, the way he was talking the whole time, I mean, I don't want to get knocked out. I've never been knocked out. But, nah, nigga, fuck that. You ain't knocking me out. You finna get knocked the fuck out. Like, I mean, you know, we two different types of people. And Boots ain't never had that shit at him. You know what I'm saying? He from the hood. Like, nigga, let's get that work. But like I said, the fans ain't holding him accountable. They're not holding him accountable. If we would have went through that fight and not said nothing about the winner or not, because they tried to say we didn't anyway. And we didn't say nothing about, no, they ducking. No, nigga, we said we want the winner. Where the fucking winner at? Where the winner? Why the winner don't want us? And we didn't say nothing about, no, they ducking. No, nigga, we said we want the winner. Where the fucking winner at? Where the winner? Why the winner don't want us? You say you want Undisputed, motherfucker. The Undisputed road is through us. The Undisputed road is through us. Man, we don't need y'all. Okay, well, fuck y'all. We don't need y'all either. My son, 24 years old. Boots was not a champion at 24 years old.
Now, to hear what he had to say, salute to the boxing voice and two-tone, the boxing superstar, for the interview. Brian Norman Sr. said, road to Undisputed is through us, that you have to see us. See, Boots isn't used to guys pressing them like so, right? So this is why he gets so agitated when Brian Norman's name is brought up. Now, it could also be a situation to where the Innocence is tired of hearing his dude's name because before they tried to offer him a payday, right? And he was turning it down. Brian Norman Sr. said the money just was light. It wasn't enough, considering. Then they turn around and fight on Keyshawn Davis' undercard for $150,000, if I'm not mistaken. Then we see him more recently fighting on Michaela Mayer's undercard. But we also hear that Bob Arum is now looking to make a fight with Jaron Ennis. It seems like all parties are on board, right? I'm not quite sure what Brian Norman Sr. meant by you guys ain't holding him accountable, right? I'm not quite sure what that means, right? But it does appear that Boots Ennis gets agitated when Norman's name is brought up. Maybe they can play into that, and maybe they can do some things to make something happen in the fight. A lot of you guys in the chat believe that Brian Norman Jr. has a good chance to beat Jaron Ennis. Brian Norman Jr., talented, got some skills, but like I said before, I feel like he may be a step behind Jaron Ennis, and that's only because of experience. And even though Brian Norman has 20-something fights, Jaron Ennis has 30-something fights. Jaron Ennis is a champion now. Jaron Ennis is starting to things are starting to really shape up for Jaron Ennis. Brian Norman Jr. isn't quite there yet, even though he has become a champion at 24, something that Boots Ennis wasn't able to do. Now, we know politics of boxing always comes into play. That's one thing guys fail to mention, that politics is always a thing in boxing. Boots Ennis simply just wasn't able to become a champion at that time because, well, the welterweight division was Errol Spencer's division, Terrence Crawford's division, Sean Porter's division. Those guys were still here. So he had to kind of wait till the smoke clears until those guys decide to disembark from the welterweight division. Then now in comes Boots Ennis to do his thing. But it's going to be interesting to see how this storyline plays out between Jaron Ennis and Brian Norman Jr. I expect that fight to happen sometime later this year, if not early next year. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Eddie Hearn going to have to pay. We know this thing is all about the money now. In order for Jaron Ennis to become undisputed, it's going to determine how much money Eddie Hearn is willing to put up. But tell me what you guys think. Jaron Ennis, Brian Norman Jr., the sparring session wasn't even close. Was not competitive. Will that translate into a potential fight? Tell me what you guys think. Like, subscribe, holla at your boy. Peace out.